Buntag, magapon, gabi, no matter where you are in the world.
Welcome to Tools to Phoenix, and we are live.
From the office room, finally. It's not completely set up. It is getting set up, finally. And we have sound set up.
Yeah, okay, we got it.
So we're in the process of getting everything set up. Her desk is not here yet. It would be like over there. The fan is just. John, how you doing today? Or how you doing this evening? Welcome to our new office. The office / guest room / nursery / whatever it happens to be that day. It is finally getting set up. We do have fairly decent internet. I can see we're going to need a doorstop. I changed out the light last night. The light in here, and that's part of what was keeping us from getting it set up here, is the light. It was an older fluorescent light, and the shade had gotten very yellow, and the light wasn't terribly bright to begin with. Good morning, Mr. David. How you doing today?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, David. How you doing today? The one keeping me on track. But the shade was all yellowed, and it wasn't terribly great. Actually, yes, I get to sit in front of a window. Kind of. It's a window with a little courtyard. Not a great view, but hey, it is what it is. Oh yeah. We'll kind of do a 360 tour. It has a restroom. It has closets for storage. Yeah, if you turn back, you get to see the restroom. That is the 360. It's kind of a stereotypical Filipino-sized room.
We have our electric fan.
We've got an electric fan.
Hi, Daniel.
Hey, Daniel, how you doing today? Cindy had her doctor's appointment yesterday.
Yeah, and I unexpectedly do a maternity package. I decided to do with the maternity package because it's still the same. The cost of my private doctor is just way higher.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not guaranteed that she will be the one giving birth. And I asked him, okay, can I go do maternity package and with Velos? And she said yes. So she sent a letter or create a letter, write a letter to refer me to the Velos maternity package. And yeah.
Yeah, because between 60 and 90,000 pesos for the package, even if it's area. No, that's not your screen. It really is a pink roll.
Yes, it's a pink. I didn't notice it before. You're right, it's pink.
Yeah, the yellow light, it almost looked more white than pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that light, you can kind of see that it's pink.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, it's a color changing light that it does the 3 primary color temperatures, and it's an LED, and it's way brighter than the other one was. We got one more for the kitchen, and my biggest question, the only way to change the color temperature is just on and off. And so my question is, are you going to have to do that every time you turn it on? We'll see in the kitchen that This room, after we had it shut off for 15, 20 minutes, I think it came back on the bright white again.
Yeah.
It started over.
Yeah, John said it's looking up. Wilbur told me the passports are on the way nice. And the Venus, Philippine experience. That's good. I've been keeping with the protocols. They keep moving the goalposts. Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't lying on that one at all. It's definitely good news that the passports are on their way. So does that mean like they're in the mail on the way, or they're on somebody's desk waiting to get into the mail on the way? And yeah, they unquestionably, and that's one of the horribly frustrating parts for people is they do keep on moving the goalposts. And every time you turn around, literally every day we're hearing different rules and regulations coming in. That now is not a time to be coming into the Philippines. That blogger, Life Beyond the Sea, Rike, he left. And it's looking like he may not be able to get back in for a while. I don't know. I kind of stopped watching him a while ago. He went off in his own direction and wasn't doing the lifestyle vlogs anymore. And I think he got married, but I'm not sure.
They said, Dino said, I'm wondering if there is a place in Cebu that makes us paint.
I'm certain there is. I just need to find them.
Maybe we could ask Wilcon.
Wilcon might. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they might know someplace too, because
I'll ask my friend that Dino worked in Wilcon, the supervisor. Shazam.
Shazam or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a really unusual Filipino name. It's not a Spanish name. It's a Filipino name.
The Philippines visa. I think we will have a 10-day quarantine. He said, yes, on our way back to me.
That it's my understanding that huge qualifier, my understanding at this point, and it's also my understanding she's looking to try and get it changed, but it's my understanding that part of the agreement to allow flights to come back into Cebu was that Gwen agreed to go with the federal testing policy.
Maybe yes, I don't want to paint my walls blue, yellow, or pink.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. This would not be in a color palette I would willingly choose.
Okay, given I like pink, but I don't want to paint pink to the room. Like, I just like white, you know?
Well, and if this room starts being a little more nursery,
It would be.
especially if Pumpkin does want to be a girl,
Yeah.
it would be kind of cool. But we've got a trash can of matches. Put the trash can.
Okay, I do.
It wasn't our intention when we bought it, but we do have a trash can that matches the walls.
It's actually pink.
She just liked the designs on it, not so much the pink. The pink accent wouldn't have been too bad. But
I agree. I like the flowers, but not the background.
The right color blue wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, the right. Yes, the right color.
But yellow or pink, yeah, no.
Hey, you see Filipinos, the Filipinos, you know, their color of their houses are like light colors, orange, like orange.
Oh, a lot of them are
Like
pretty
green,
bright.
like-
Yeah, they're pass out the sunglasses, bright colors. I don't know. Last I heard is that to allow the airport to open back up, she did relent and is following IATF protocol.
Yeah.
but she is actively trying to get IATF to upgrade
But at
the
least
protocol or
the
whatever.
cost of swab is not, no, it's not the same as before. It's not.
Yeah, the
like-
swab tests aren't too bad.
Before it was like 5,000, 4,500 something. And now it's like 1,000. Just when mama and papa go to Manila, they do this swab test. But it's not like doing quarantine, just.
Yeah, because I was reading an article, I think Dan posted this morning that the Philippine News Agency is kind of encouraging the government to start doing the test on arrival. That they're also encouraging the government to do the some kind of quarantine pass or some kind of quarantine passport, or actually implement the green lane that they were talking about for immunized people.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. She was fighting the wrong people. And I think she realized that finally, that I don't think Duterte is any different in his honest personal beliefs and sentiments, but he also plays politics at a slightly different level than she does, to where
Yeah.
he needs to deal with the IATF and those guys and relent more often and more willingly. Being a governor, she doesn't necessarily have to. That they're pretty often allowed to run their own business, to mind their own business, do their own thing, which is actually pretty good and what should happen. But there's times where the federal government does need to step in, and this is one of the times that the feds felt it was necessary to step in. She wasn't terribly happy about that, and I can't blame her either. But
Yeah.
this is a bizarre situation that hopefully will never be repeated in any of our lifetimes.
I agree. Personality conflicts going on, yes.
In all honesty, I don't think it's so much personality conflicts. I think Duterte would be perfectly fine with doing the test on arrival. If you're fine, get the fuck out of here, go about your business. Duterte a few times has said we need to get this place open back up.
No, there is a personality conflict.
Well, it's two type A personalities butt head. That's unquestionable. But Duterte is getting stuck dealing with IATF more directly and crap
Well,
like
I
that.
guess Duterte has a lot of issues with other politicians.
Yeah, he does.
This isn't the first time he went to the yeah.
No.
Like Duterte and Manny, they're also not in good terms. And then Gwen and Duterte. And
Well, I get it. You're talking about a bunch of type A personalities that like the limelight. And Duterte does not want Manny to overshadow him, and Manny at any given moment.
yeah.
And Duterte realizes that. And as far as the popularity contest, I think Duterte knows he'd lose. Gwen would give Duterte a run for his money.
Yeah.
In straight up popularity contest.
Hey, Pa, come on. Say hi.
Say hi to everybody.
Wait. Halika, to the. Yeah, wave your hand. Papa is here from the other room.
Papa's coming in today. That he's making a guest appearance.
Thank you, Pa.
Okay.
Sige.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy, Papa. Salamat. Yeah, and that John said, Philippine Experience said, hi, Papa.
And Daniel.
Daniel said, kumusta, Papa?
Yeah, be careful talking about Philippines.
Yeah, and that's why I normally don't, and try to keep it
I
not
teach
really
you
a political aspect, but just kind of like comparing personalities.
I teach John really well on that, like, okay, don't yell or scream.
Yeah, this is not the U.S. You start talking. Oh, David said hi too. Papa went downstairs. But again, there's that comment delay. Sorry about that, people. But yeah, this ain't the U.S. That if you get meddling in politics, they will kick you out in a heartbeat. There's been several foreigners that have been expelled from the country for getting a little too involved in politics. My coffee's gone. I'm switching over to water. Oh, no worries about late. It's just it's about 3 to 5 seconds from when you make a comment to when we see it.
Yeah.
And so between he was here just a few seconds with that delay, and then the delay of getting the comment back. But we told him everybody said hi.
Yeah.
I keep water in the freezer so it melts, and I've got ice water the entire time.
Yeah.
Not that there's actually water in here. So it's basically one massive ice cube. Then before we left, I found some, who was it, your friend there? Or was it just have a baby? The one who went over to the service for? Did you married?
John, yeah.
Joanne?
And, I forget the husband.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's right. She forgot a baby. Now I don't feel so bad at all.
Oh, right.
Oh, that didn't last long. Oh well.
You think after, sorry, Philippines up, you think if they're going to the Philippines to the I've learned the language, I know some words though, and then, you know. I got a question for you guys. Do you think the guys 70 and more should now be thinking about returning in the Philippines?
A lot of that just depends on health.
Yeah. Because we have a friend that he's staying here in the Philippines for over 20 years, and he has health issue, and they go back to the U.S. Remember that lady from the war?
Yeah, another way to come back.
Yeah, but it's hard for them to come back now because the vaccine, there's just a lot.
That 99% of health issues can be dealt with here pretty well, pretty effectively.
It might be Buang.
Buang?
In the G, it's, you know that, John, in Buang.
I know what Buang means. Type in Buang. Okay, she'll come up. But yeah, he had some. What health issue did he have?
I forgot.
He had something that he felt more comfortable getting taken care of in the U.S. and they went back.
And now they're struggling because his pension is cannot maintain it.
Yeah, I really feel bad about it.
They get to the money.
Yeah, that's Buang.
Yeah.
Just spelling.
Because he's
That wouldn't surprise
80.
me.
He's 81.
That was an average age for most expats, Western expats especially, Europe, American, Australian, New Zealand. That wouldn't surprise me. Because of some issues with China and them abusing policies, that may screw it up a little bit.
Okay, guys, have to run back.
All right, enjoy, David. I appreciate you coming and showing up for the time and giving the channel support.
Yeah.
It does mean a lot to us, guys.
Yeah.
That I can't emphasize that enough.
Going back to the retirement age.
But yeah, I could easily see 72.
Because there's other two, my office mate, in the health organization that the friend of them come back to the US and he's around 76 because he has lung cancer,
Lung cancer?
lung cancer, so he needs to go back to the US and get treated because he's already been treating in Manila because he's staying in Bulacan, but it's getting worse. Mm,
Well, and the one thing here, and that's starting to change slowly, is a lot of the stronger pain medications that you would be on for things like cancer and such aren't allowed here. That they're just not allowed. Period. There is getting to be some. They're in very select areas. The doctors have to go through a bunch of certifications. The pharmacies that dispense them have to go through a bunch of certifications and securities and all that good garbage. But it is starting to get to where narcotic level painkillers can be prescribed under certain circumstances, cancer being one of them. Iloilo is one of the areas. Manila is one of the areas. I don't know whether or not there's any in Cebu.
or there is
Doctors and such are able to prescribe strong narcotics.
yeah,
I would imagine there are because of Cebu doctors in Changhua and such, but I don't know that. But I do know that there's one in Iloilo, there's one in Manila. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a bunch in Manila, but I know of one
Yeah.
through reference from somebody else. Iloilo, there was a gentleman that his wife had cancer and was going through it, and he was one of the first ones, and she was, and he made a blog about it and talked about the problems she was having with getting, and they almost left because of it. And most people, I think, are generally healthier here. It's a much more natural, holistic.
that's why I got pregnant here.
I truly believe that is part of the reason why she got pregnant.
Because of both of our
But
health.
both of our healths have improved. I've lost, not a massive amount, but I've lost a significant amount of weight. We're walking way more than I have in years back in Phoenix. That's going to have to be something that Papa and I figure out. I'll get more into that on the Zoom call with everybody.
With the right food, the right food supplement, the right exercise.
But back in the U.S., that's the problem you run into. It's the same problem that they're running into. Is that trying to do stuff like that is so horribly expensive.
No worries, John.
I find a little irony in that you have to interrupt from the Philippines to go to take a call from the Philippines. But anyways, yeah, we'll probably be here.
Yeah.
With my back,
Yeah.
how long have you got? I have a captive audience, kind of.
I'll let you share the story and then I'll talk with Mama.
Oh no, I'm just going to give it, a 5-minute thumbnail at that. That in 2015, right after you got to the States, she got to the States in May, and I did it in November, the end of November. That I finished concrete with the city of Phoenix. A lot of the concrete that we did was broke out and put in by hand. It was 4x4, 4x8 pieces. It wasn't terribly big.
Yeah.
And I bent over to pick up a rather large chunk and throw it in the truck. And as I went to stand up, it felt like I had the worst muscle cramp you'd ever experienced in my back. And I just hit the ground. And they took me to the work doctors, and They said it's just a muscle strain. You just pull the muscle. But they did real quick X-ray and didn't find anything. And so just chalked it up as a muscle pull and gave me 2 weeks no duty to let it start healing. And that kind of worked out as a godsend because it was right when she was getting her green card and I needed to be down there for an interview anyhow. But after 2 weeks, it wasn't really significantly improving. He did physical therapy for a month. And at that point, I'd been on light duty for the entire month. So I'd been on light duty for 6 weeks at that point. And he said, you need to get back, you need to get trying to go back to work. And
Yeah,
I said,
but you
it's
have
still not
Yeah.
right. He said, well, give it a try. And if it's not, we can look more into it. And I wasn't back at work a week. I think I was back 3 days.
You got
And
it.
those idiots that put these little guy lines on trees, the little wire ones that you can't see, I caught both feet in one and blew like freaking Superman into the edge of a sidewalk and flaked off the end of this, the two bones. I flaked off the end of one of them. And so I went back to the doctor. The doctor saw obvious bone break at that point. He said, yeah, that did. They started to refer me to somebody. No, I know this is a big deal. And Arizona, you can choose your own doctor. So I went to a good orthopedic surgeon that he did an elbow replacement that it looks like I got a little Thor's hammer at the end of that elbow.
Yeah.
At the end of that bone.
Doctor too.
Yeah. Ironically, the elbow doctor's name is Dr. Toe. But anyways, getting that replaced and doing the healing for that took like 3 months. And the back, you know, I wasn't doing anything. I was back on no duty for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then light duty for a month. And then the work doctor sent me to a pain management quack. That you're coming in back into the middle of drama on this one. This is American level drama from a workers' comp claim. And because I wasn't doing anything, the back wasn't that bad. The pain management doctor said he wanted to close out the case, and I told him no, that wasn't happening until I was back to full duty with no significant pain. And so every 2 weeks, I'd go back in, he'd want to close out the case. Well, you're going to have to see me in 2 weeks. I got nothing better to do. I'm going to be here 2 weeks. And so we went back. Dr. Toe finally released me because of the elbow back to full duty. And back was worse than ever. There was no improvement. And from being off without physical therapy for that length of time, it was horrible. And so at that point, I petitioned the state workers' comp board to change doctors and went to a back specialist, and they took a look at the MRI and said, you got a torn disc over top of a nerve root. Why wasn't that ever addressed? I'm not the doctor. And so they came up with a schedule of treatment because their diagnosis changed from, and this is like June of the following year.
Yeah.
This has been almost 8 months. And so that doctor put me back on no duty for a couple of weeks and submitted to the workers' comp that they wanted this done. And because that diagnosis differed so much from what the original muscle sprain was, that workers' comp wanted to do an independent medical exam. So they scheduled that. He said that, that it's a torn disc, but either there's no pain or there's massive pain and it doesn't go away. Yours just happens to have massive pain.
Yeah.
And so that began another trigger of events. And so finally in January of the following year, 2017, because all of 2016, I was, except 2 months, I was on lay duty. Either because of the elbow or because of the back. And workers' comp didn't approve the original doctor's request. that the medical review got the IME doctor wanted something different done, and she wasn't terribly happy with the spinal doctor wasn't terribly happy with that and felt that it wasn't going to work anyhow. But she was obligated to try. And so she did. They did a nerve block in there and it didn't help in the least. So they didn't do anything more. They tried intense physical therapy. That didn't help in the least. So she said, I've done everything I can and I can't do any more. And they won't pay for anything that I want to try. You're done. I don't know what to do. And so that began yet another thing with workers' comp because she really didn't do anything. And so they sent me back to yet another IME. And this guy said, no, you get a torn disc. It's right on a nerve root. Hey, it's not going to get better. Here are your permanent restrictions. And so in March of 2017, I went out on permanent disability, that it's a permanent partial disability, which began yet another chain with Social Security disability and everything else. And finally, in December of 2022, 5 years later, everything got settled. Workers' comp, retirement, and Social Security have all been finally settled over a 5-year process. So, what's wrong with my back? I got a torn disc, and there's just nothing they can do for it. That's why the walks are so important for Papa and I to do. Back in the States, I couldn't do it. I walked 100 yards, and I had horrible throbbing pain in my leg and hips that was from the nerve swelling and getting irritated. Here yesterday, I managed to walk, and you guys saw the walk I did for about an hour, for a little over an hour. And since I've been here, just the natural walking that you've done has improved it well enough to where I can do a walk like that with stops and such. Yesterday and even today, my back is telling me it's a little bit much yesterday. All those hills were a bit much. Even Papa was a little bit worried we were going to try to walk today, and I told him not. But we try to do that every other day. But yeah, trying to deal with workers' comp or Social Security back in the States can be horrible and insane. But like I say, all of that's over and done with. I still haven't got the back pay from Social Security yet. And the way they approved the case, I'm only getting like 2 months, 3 months worth of back pay anyhow. So it's not a significant amount like, some people get. Yeah, and in the U.S., and I don't know about in Canada, but in the U.S., dealing with state levels worker comp and Social Security disability are two completely different entities, often with different rules. And that's what happened to me. In Arizona, I was 52 at that point when it went permanent. And that's why it went to be a permanent disability instead of retraining, is because I was over 50. Part of my work in workers' comp, part of my work to get disability retirement was I had to apply for Social Security disability. And Social Security disability says you're eligible for retraining up until you're 55. And so that, because I was under 55, they were wanting me to get retrained. Because I was over 50, the state said I'm too old to retrain. And that began an insane 3-year process And that's what happened in the end, is that the judge that heard it this year or last year, I said, yeah, you just turned 55, and that's what I'm basing my approval on. And so, no, you're not getting back pay to the date when you apply, but you're getting back pay to the date when you turn 55. Bye-bye. Say hi to everybody. Hi, everyone. It's my brother-in-law, Jujo. He's going to Cagayan de Oro. Oh, very cool. You get approved?
Yes, approved.
Very cool. Enjoy.
Yes.
So we'll
Thank
see you in a
you.
couple weeks.
Maybe 1 week.
Oh, 1 week?
Yes.
Oh, very cool. He's going down to CDO for further training for Merchant Marine. He's going for promotions.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Bye-bye. A lot of his training is up here in Cebu City. And so he comes up and with Mama and Papa, and he'll stay here while he's doing training in Cebu City. But he's going back to Cebu. I'm going to get some paperwork, and I guess he's leaving. I didn't realize that. You obviously got paperwork quicker than I thought he did. And with us getting the printer, it's allowing people to email paperwork, and we'll print it out here and go. And they're accepting that. So. Daniel, that's what they were going to try and do. And that's what that initial IME doctor, the state doctor, wanted to try. And they did some kind of nerve block or something like that, where they flooded the nerve with anesthetic of some kind. And it made the back, that area of the back, horribly numb. But it didn't significantly improve the pain. The pain did not go away. That you'd start walking or something like that, and it was just as bad, if not worse than ever. So they knew something like that wasn't going to work. And the spine doctor at that point, cautioned me that it's probably not going to, that this type of injury does not respond well to that type of treatment. In the end, the spinal surgeon that I have dealing with it back in the U.S., that's what they were going to do, is a nerve ablation or something like that. What they do, they just stick a couple sensors in and they cauterize the nerve, they kill it, kind of like a root canal for the back. But because the Novocaine didn't, the Novocaine solution didn't work, they knew that wasn't going to work. He didn't want to just randomly kill off a nerve. The final spinal surgeon that I wound up dealing with explained it to me, Beth, and he was able to put it in terms that I kind of understood. The vertebrae are held together with cartilage, the real thick, heavy membrane, but they're cushioned by some stuff that's kind of like ballistic gelatin, that it's a real thick, heavy gelatin-like substance that cushions it. And they're kind of like little gummy erasers that there'll be cracks and tears in them, after you've bent them and used them a little bit. And most people, as they age, do have them, but they're in different areas that it just doesn't matter. There's nothing there, so it's not going to do anything. Where my roulette wheel came up 00, because my tear is right on top of where a nerve canal passes through it. And so every time that those two pieces move, that it irritates that nerve. And after a while, that nerve will start to get pissed and swell. And where it comes out of the spine, it swells, the nerve coming down from the next vertebrae up will get pinched against the vertebrae. And so that's why I get really bad pain in your hips, and that comes out real fast. Again, fusing it wouldn't do any good. That they don't like to fuse if they can possibly get away with not doing it. My brother-in-law, my oldest brother-in-law, my oldest sister's husband, that back in the 70s, he had 3 vertebrae fused for various reasons. And he flat out admitted he would never recommend that to anybody. He's dealt with it, and he's been able to deal with it for 40 years. But it's not, you can see the baby bump more. It's not something that he'd recommend anybody going through. And because I asked the surgeon about it, and he said, no, that's not something to be recommended in this case. And they try to avoid that other than absolute last resort measures. Could it get bad enough that eventually that it may be a last resort measure? Yeah. But it's not something that they'll try and do. The spinal surgeon, his best recommendation was lose some weight, because that gut is kind of pulling down on it, putting a lot of mechanical pressure on that vertebrae. You lose the weight, you get core strength so that the muscles are helping stabilize that, and you should be able to lead a normally active life. You're never going to run marathons. You're never going to be a mountain climber, but you should lead a normally active life without a problem. But you need to get back down to about 180.
Yeah.
Which I got about 50
pounds.
pounds more to go. That a lot depends on me. If I lose the weight and get the core strength, it should stabilize.
Yeah.
To the point where it's not going to get much worse.
You have plenty more pounds to lose, 200, because you're
I got 30 pounds more to
wanting to
lose,
lose.
200. And then about another 15 to get back down to the 185 that they say I should be weighing. If I can get back down to 190, 195, I'd be happy. If I can get down to 200, I'll be ecstatic.
You're doing good because you walk almost every day, so.
I try to walk pretty much every day. I got one of these goofy Fitbits that helps keep track of and monitor. Yes, you are walking. Back in the States, I was lucky to get 3,000 steps a day. Here, I've had quite a few days with 8,000 and 10,000 steps. Pounding them back 16 ounces at a time doesn't necessarily count. It could actually make it worse. And no, I still haven't found that tiger. The only tiger I'm finding is the one from Korea.
Yeah, Korea.
The beer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Korean tiger. He said that there's a tiger beer made here in the Philippines.
We can take a look at that.
But I gotta see. We're gonna go to Metro today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's my rest day today.
She's taking a rest day. I'm going for a bike ride later today.
I've been we've been going somewhere since Saturday, and I'm tired. I need to set up my computer here because I need to photocopy some documents. Okay, continue.
And the biggest thing is getting back active and doing things. Like I said, back in Arizona, I've been trying to get on a dumbbell routine. That I had a Bowflex back in Phoenix. It just never got used. I'd use it for a little bit, and then something would happen. I'd screw up my routine, and it was nearly impossible for me to get a routine started. And about the time I was getting one started decently, something would happen to blow my routine, and And so I kept on in that cycle, you know, I'd try it for a little bit and I'd get going at it and it's something that happened and it'd fall away. And I'd have to start from scratch for a few weeks or a month or two. Matter of fact, Juju's got some dumbbells that he,
Jimmer.
oh, Gemler, those are Gemlers?
Yeah.
Does he ever use them?
He's got-
I may ask if we can take him up here and just use the office room if the pumpkin shows up and see if I can start doing that again. Because the walking's helping a lot with the weight loss and the lower body.
The strength.
And just, you know, did use the dumbbells for, you know, chest and shoulders. And just go with that kind of a routine. That but yeah, I think I think we'll be able to get it. And that I've got dumbbell sets in the U.S. that again, when we packed up the Bowflex, disassembled it. My son moved into that room, and that I did start using the dumbbells for a little bit. But again, that was kind of at the end, and that routine just never did materialize. I did start using the dumbbells down to Sabuna, but again, things happen, and you know that routine kind of fell by the wayside. So, but oh my gosh, Nando, you've never heard of a Bowflex? That they're an amazing self-contained weight machine. That they're actually really great. I years ago I got a really good deal on one that was brand new that they were having to close up and go to model change, and so I got it for about 60% off. And the house we were in, not her and I, the ex and I, the house that the ex and I were in at the time was big enough to have that. The house that her and I are in kind of wasn't big enough for that. And that was the biggest part of the problem, it just really wasn't big enough for that. Because yes, it's a weight machine. It needs pretty much an entire room set up and dedicated to itself. You never really did get into both of us. Oh, did you? But yeah, you can do all kinds of things. When I was doing the rehab for the shoulder, or for the years ago, I had a shoulder repair done, and again, the Bowflex came in immensely handy for that. When I was doing the elbow, but again, the Bowflex came in way handy for that. It was really simple and convenient to have something like that. If we ever got the place over here, I wouldn't mind trying to ship it over. But I don't know that I couldn't find a machine to do the same exact thing here for way less than it would cost to ship one over. How so? Too many broken bones? Yeah, you don't want to hear the list of that one. I've actually been checked twice for brittle bone disease when I was a little kid. And then my son, when he was 8 months old, broke his leg. And they checked both him and I because of my medical history. They checked him and I to see whether or not there was any kind of brittle bone disease. And that we both came back negative, that there's no problem with that. Just kind of a product of growing up in the 70s, I think. Or at least what I chalk it up to. I grew up before helmets and knee pads and all that good stuff, which kind of explains a lot about me today. I've broken way too many bones over the years. Diary Z.
That's right.
Oh, hey, how you doing today? That's right. You went from you changed your channel name. Very cool. We need to get down to the McGetty again. We love it down there.
Go, John. Go see the troubles.
With her pregnant, it just not. Yeah, they won't let her into a lot of these. Yeah. Most recent is I broke my elbow. I tore up my back. I tore up my shoulder. Those were all at work. I broke an ankle, and that was at another job. I'm trying to go backwards. I broke my ankle like about 20. Oh God, I broke that almost 30 years ago. And then I got to go back to high school when I was a teenager, growing up, because I've broken both arms. I've broken both wrists twice. I broke both wrists once when I was a little kid, like 5. And then in high school, I broke, or in grade school, I broke my arm, my one wrist a second time. And then in college, I broke it again. I've broken collarbone. I've broken like 3 ribs playing football. Not all at once, over a 4-year time frame. I've broken my leg. Yeah, I've broken way too many bones, especially as a teenager. And again, it was just not. It was a product being a product in the 70s. Now, riding a hardtail is not, even with a good back, that's not a good, that will give you a bad back. That we're discussing broken bones, Rod. That's right. You've had hip replacements, so you can definitely appreciate that one. When I started with the city of Phoenix, the guy that ran our small equipment shop was an older gentleman, into his 60s at that point. He had a big poster in his shop. Can't see, can't breathe, can't pee. Getting old age for wimps. And I used to give him so much crap over that sign about being an old man. And at this point, I haven't quite can't pee yet, but I haven't quite hit that point yet. But yeah, I can definitely appreciate all the rest that he had on there. And that poster isn't quite so funny anymore. And I'm the youngest of 5. The oldest, and these two, my youngest brother and youngest sister, they have never had a broken bone. He's had a couple. Oh. Yeah, we got some family news. I hadn't shared it with her yet. And matter of fact, it just dawned on me. Yeah, this brother passed away last night. I get a beauty of Facebook Messenger. Jenny messaged me, and we had a real brief chat this morning, and she found out that he passed away last night. Yeah, I'm the youngest of 5, but it works out that you got me, and then 6 years, you've got a sister. 13, you've got a brother. 15, you've got a brother. And 18, you've got a sister. So from oldest to youngest, there's an 18-year age gap. In December when my mother was expecting me, my father got a promotion and moved to the town that I grew up in, and she was a senior in high school that year, and so they let her stay in the town that we moved from. It was only like 30, 50 miles away, but it was far enough we moved. And she immediately went to nursing school. They had an LPN school that was a boarding school, and immediately after graduation, she went there. So her and I have never lived in the same house. He joined the Army when he was 18, and so I was 3 when he left and went to Vietnam. He graduated when I turned 5 and went off to college, so him and I haven't lived in the same house since I was 5. And she left when she was 17. So basically from 9 on, I was the only child with 4 siblings.
Well, I'm 17, the younger is 56.
Yeah, I'm the youngest and just turned 56. And she's 74. That's matter of fact, this one just started collecting Social Security. Yeah, she just hit 62 and started collecting. And I technically beat her to it by a couple months. So I was kind of teasing her about being the younger brother, managed to do things out of order and all that good stuff. But yeah, that all 5 siblings are retired at this point. Matter of fact, he was on disability for quite a while. He was on disability for 10 to 15 years. He was a Vietnam vet. He got that Agent Orange exposure, and I don't know if he ever had the diagnosis of it, but I think he had some PTSD issues. And so yeah, there was quite a bit in his life that he led quite a hard life. Ironically, he's the only one of the 5 that never smoked, yet it was lung issues that killed him. And none of the doctors could understand or figure out why his lungs were failing and the way they were. And so Monday, my oldest sister texted, sent me a Facebook message that he had been admitted to one of the better military medical hospitals in Washington, and was doing very poorly and wasn't expected to make it. She said about 30 days, but and then this sister messaged me for me this morning, and that she called as soon as I got up and let me know that he passed away.
We need to talk on that.
So,
What, we're 57.
but I'm supposed to make shake and bake pork chops today.
Yeah, because Juju already left, and I don't know when Mama and Papa are already getting ready to go home.
Oh, maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh well. And if not, that's cool.
Yeah, I can get back in the. Yeah, we can make it.
They're kind of small pork chops. So it's just two of us. It's not a big deal. But
We could do dinner too. Bye.
Mabuhay. And we really appreciate everybody that does show up here. Thank you.
Thank you.